financial analytical study of instrumentation and automation companies in India. This is the content of my paper, Introduction, Research Objective, Research Study, Ratio Analysis, Finding, and Conclusion. First, in the introduction, it's about the financial analysis. The term financial analysis is also known as as analysis and interpretation of financial statements. And there are various tools for analysis of financial analysis. There are five tools. There are five important tools: are historical analysis, vertical analysis, ratio analysis, fund flow statement analysis, and cash flow statement analysis. Last two tools are mostly used for the external users who are the stakeholders or the public who can interest in the company's financial position, and for internal users, horizontal analysis, vertical analysis, and ratio analysis must be used. First, horizontal analysis. It's also called as a trend analysis. It is a technique for evaluating a series of financial statement data over a period of time. Vertical analysis is also called as a common sense analysis. It is a technique that expresses each financial statement items as a percentage of base of amount. And the third important is the ratio analysis. Ratio analysis expresses the relationship among the selected item of the financial statement of data. The ratio expresses the mathematical relationship between the one quantity and other. The classification of financial statement as follows: liquidity ratio, which is measured the short-term ability of the company to pay the maturity obligations and meet the unexpected needs for the cash. Second is the profitability ratio. It used to measure the income or operating success of a company. Third is solvency ratio. It measures the ability of the company to survive over a long period of a time. There are various methods. Five companies are selected for the studies as follows: Voltman transformers, ILP Power Limited, Hill rectifiers, Star Delta transformers and rectifiers. The objective of the study is to evaluate the profitability of the company, to evaluate liquidity and the financial situation of the company. In this study, the secondary data is used. The data gathered is from company's annual report, official site, and other trusted websites. The research I used, the research time is 2015 to 2019-20. In this research, I used various ratio. In this ratio, profitability ratio, assets turnover ratio, return on assets, profit margin ratio is calculated. Research turnover ratio is calculated to measure how efficiently assets are used to generate for sales. Return on assets are measured for overall profitability of assets, and profit margin ratio are for measure the net income generated by sales. Liquidity ratio in liquidity ratio, current ratio and inventory ratio are measured. Current ratio measured for short-term debt paying ability, and inventory ratio is measured to liquidity of inventories. This is the turnover ratio of the last for the 5 years for selected companies. In 2019, Voltman has a higher ratio, and in 2018, Voltman has a lower ratio, as we can see in this chart. Every company has a higher and lower ratio in different age of time, but the gap between the ratio is sometimes low and sometimes is more. But the lowest ratio of these five companies is in 2020. Is that we can say it because of COVID-19. The next is return on assets. This is the chart of return on assets. Voltman has always a higher ratio, and transformer and rectifier company has a lower ratio on 0.0707. In average, we can also see the average of Voltman transformers as a high as a percent 1.078, and transformer and rectifier has a low as 0.78. In other companies' ratio, we can say the current ratio of a Voltman transformer has a 6.29, and to lower ratio of 5.25.
Ma'am, you have 2 minutes to conclude, please.
Okay, sir. 1.25 as a year of 2020. Inventory ratio also show the higher ratio of Star data transformers, the 7.536 and lower of 3.44. In a conclusion, in a findings, we find that Voltman transformers And IMP Power has a Voltmeter transformers and IMP Power has the highest profitability and margin ratio. But in, as we can say, in the liquidity ratio, the transformers and rectifiers has to work more on it. In rectifiers has a sufficient profitability and liquidity ratio. So in all five companies, Voltmeter transformers position is a very satisfactory, but transformers and rectifiers need to more work on the on other companies' work. Volume profitability is, I think that if our profitability ratio is lower than liquidity ratio, companies should focus on the profitability. IMB Power has a satisfactory profitability and liquidity ratio. Star data transformers liquidity ratio is very satisfactory, and transformers and rectifiers need to work on more the profitability ratio. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you.